Welcome to the desert of the real.
I wanted to ask you about the Shat-Sila Ma'at, which is the book of wisdom and order. What is that a synthesis of?
Going into the Sila Ma'at, Shat meaning document, is a Kemetic word for document. Sila is a word for wisdom in a lot of cultures, actually, and Ma'at being truth or order. The book was compiled from several sources, some of it from what is commonly known as the Corpus Hermeticum, which is reputed to be a Gnostic text. But if you do your historical research on it, you will find that a lot of the content predates Gnosticism and also is in line with some of the teachings that you might see in the text commonly known as the Bible. There's a Sermon on the Mount that parallels the one that's attributed to Yeshua or Jesus, and other information in there that you'll find kind of scattered out throughout there. I looked at that, and initially it's written with Greek terms and Greek phrases, and I researched the original names and translated them back into the Kemetic terms and phrases and places that they would have originated from. And also researched the people with whom the Greeks were referring to. I think at one time they were referring to Hermes, and Hermes is Achan. Hermes thrice great, or Hermes 3 times great, which is hearkening on to Tahuti or Thoth, and just bringing those back to their origin, and then studying the nature of the people who they represent, and making sure that that falls in line, and not just reproducing or putting out something that someone else put out that you can pass it off that way. Also, the Emerald Tablets of Tahuti were part of that. The 42 Negative Confessions, which is where the 10 Commandments were derived from, which are more commonly found in what people call the Book of the Dead or the Coming Forth by Day, as well as what is also called the Book of the Virgin, which is also one of the texts that predates Gnosticism, and the Book of Aset, which goes into something of the creation of man or the creation of the earth, commonly known as the Genesis story. And so compiling those texts, and the glossary is actually at the end of the first book of this Shat-Sila Ma'at. So if you download it, and it's free to download it on Scribd, you can go to the end of that book, and the glossary is there, that and the bibliography that tells you the source material as well as the names being referred and their meaning. So it took me a while to find a lot of that, and it took me a while to translate it and to put it together appropriately. And the text really is a conversation between Tahuti and Imhotep, or Ptah and Imhotep, and these sorts of things. And if you study Nile Valley civilization, you'll understand that there was a lot of teacher-instructor relationships that were going on in teaching. And Imhotep, who is a historical figure, was a master of many sciences. And so I wanted to keep that tradition, because I think that's what our people have to go back to, is being masters of multiple sciences, because that's what we were known for a very long time. Even the Hopi and the Mesoamericans knew of us, and they called us the people from the water, and we brought many things to them, as well as in China and all around the world. So I wanted to keep that tradition alive very strongly. And obviously Tahuti, for those who know Thoth, the obvious reasons. And that first book is more of a look at how we see our spiritual essence, or how we see the world spiritually. And it defines to people the purpose of life in a manner of saying, it allows you to think about it and say, well, is this it? No, it's not it. If you got here, then you can come back. So what does that mean? Well, life is about creativity, and it's about expression, and it's about learning. And if you read the Shat-Sila Ma'at, it basically details that from an Afrocentric perspective from our ancestors in the Kemetic Nile Valley area.
Wow, I mean, I'm just amazed that you were able to put this all together. I mean, like, were there other people that help you with this, like just the whole concept?
No. Once again, I read the Mahabharata, which is the Hindu holy book. I read the book, the Tibetan Book of the Dead. I read the Koji, which is the Japanese holy book, the Papal Val, and just a lot of different holy books. And there's common threads that roll through all of them. And just wanted to pull ours, man. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to say it's not me, it's the spirit. I don't see anything as though I did this. This is what I was tasked to do.
Right.
It's something that I don't see myself as saying, I was sitting in a cave and something came to me and this sort of thing and that sort of thing. It's my purpose to do this, and so it was just something that I felt needed to be done. To be able to get, us back on track with who we are, and especially for people to go back and start to question these things that are being passed off as true and original that are not. And there's no question about that they are not. And to go back and to compile these texts, and there are a lot of texts actually, but the texts that I chose were the ones that I think were more prudent for today and allow us to get a new start on ourselves and where we want to go. I didn't want us, to... Kemet was a very long and very old civilization. So at one point they did kind of fall from grace, and they did start worshiping idols, and they did start worshiping things that were, not based in facts. They didn't start off that way, but all things have their season. And so I didn't want to repeat the same mistakes that they did. So, I left out things that focused on worshiping either idols or beings and things of that nature that didn't apply to where we're going into the modern society. But there's a second part of the Shat-Sila Ma'at called the Shat, Nesu, and Enderase, which is the Book of Kings and Viziers. And that is taken directly. There is no doubt, there is no question, there is absolutely 100% accuracy that these are taken directly from the writings of the Nesu, or the pharaoh of the time, and the Enderase, which is equivalent to a vizier of the time. And they are lessons and teachings on how to govern your life, how to govern your society, and how to govern your family, and also how to protect your country. And it also talks about how they encountered the Asiatics, which is the term that they would have used for the white people, and how they dealt with them and how they saw them. And I didn't do that to be controversial or racist or anything like that, but it reflects what we encounter today, and it reflects how our ancestors saw things in relation to the way we see them. They didn't see them as these people that were awe or anything. They said, the phrase that they used, and I'm trying to remember which pharaoh it was or Nesu it was, said that they're angry people because they come from a land where you can't grow food and you can't farm, so it's pushed them to be aggressive and violent. And he says that he made them do the dog walk, which means that he pushed them back and he made them run away. And he shows how he defended his land and his people. And these are things that we need to be able to see that aren't in our literature and the literatures that are given out to us. We're always seen as being this docile, accepting, or sacrificial people. And that's something I think we really need to get away from.